On a rainy evening, a boy named Sam found himself alone in his grandparents' old, creaky house, the kind of house that always seemed slightly too cold, even when the heat was on. With the rain pouring down outside, he wandered through the dimly lit rooms, trying to keep himself entertained. The windows were fogged up, and the only sound was the steady drumming of raindrops on the roof. In the living room, Sam noticed an old photo album lying on a dusty coffee table. Curious, he picked it up and started flipping through the pages. The album was filled with black and white pictures of his family from many years ago. Some of the people in the photos looked happy, but others had a strange emptiness in their eyes, like they were hiding something. Sam felt a chill, but he shrugged it off, thinking it was just the cold. As the night wore on, Sam noticed that the house felt different. The air seemed heavier, almost oppressive. The lights flickered, casting strange shadows on the walls. Then he heard a faint, barely audible whisper that seemed to echo through the hallways. He froze, trying to figure out where the sound was coming from, but it was impossible to pinpoint. The whispers grew louder as the night went on. They weren't words exactly, but they sounded like voices layered on top of one another, like a murmur of conversations long forgotten. Sam's heart raced as he walked through the dark hallways, trying to find the source of the noise. The floorboards creaked beneath his feet, as if someone or something was moving through the house with him. Eventually, Sam found himself standing in front of the attic door. He hesitated for a moment, his hand trembling as he reached for the doorknob. With a deep breath, he opened the door and climbed the narrow, creaking staircase to the attic. The attic was dark and musty, filled with old furniture covered in dusty sheets. In the corner, Sam noticed an old trunk. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years. His curiosity getting the better of him, he walked over and opened the trunk. Inside were letters written in a shaky hand. As he read through them, Sam realized they were written by someone who had lived in the house long ago. The letters spoke of strange occurrences, of voices that wouldn't stop, of shadows that move on their own. The person who'd written them seemed to be losing their mind, convinced that the house was haunted. The letters became more frantic, more desperate, until they suddenly stopped. The last letter was different. It was a medical report detailing the transfer of the writer to a nearby asylum. The report mentioned severe auditory hallucinations and paranoia. The person had been hearing things, whispers, voices, all echoing through the house. They were convinced the house was alive, and it was driving them mad. Sam felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead as he realized the whispers he had been hearing were the same ones described in the letters. He quickly closed the trunk and backed away, his mind racing. He needed to get out of the attic, out of the house, but the whispers seemed to follow him, growing louder with every step. Panicking, Sam ran down the stairs, through the dark hallways and out the front door. He didn't stop running until he reached the nearby asylum, the same one mentioned in the letters. The building loomed ahead, dark and foreboding, its windows like empty eyes staring down at him. Sam banged on the door, desperate for help, but when the door finally creaked open, the inside was just as cold and eerie as the house he had just fled. The echoes of footsteps and distant cries bounced off the sterile walls. The whispers were still there, following him, growing louder and louder. As the days passed, Sam found himself trapped in the asylum, unable to escape the whispers that haunted him day and night. The doctors tried to help, but nothing worked. The whispers followed him into his dreams, into his waking hours, until he could no longer tell where the asylum ended and the house began. No one ever found out what caused the whispers, or why they seemed to haunt that house and the people who live there. But the echoes lingered, a reminder of the fragile line between reality and madness. The house still stands, empty now, but those who pass by swear they can hear something, faint and distant, carried on the wind. A whisper, an echo of a forgotten past that refuses to stay buried.